The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. 1 second, I have to do a little bit of something here, and then we're going to have Rich Anderson on our show. Oh, let me think. I'm trying to think. Boy. Oh, just a second here. Let me think. I got to do 800-877-927-6648. Okay, I think I'm ready here. All right. Hold on 1 second here. We'll have Rich Anderson as our guest here. I posted the chart of the DAX. As you can see, we had a little bit of a break, a little bit of a Gartley coming back here. But the most important of these foreign stock markets today is this FTSE that we've been looking at for quite some time. I wanted to bring this to your attention because you see we've been up here for 4 days at this 1.618 ABCD pattern here in the FTSE at 7,760. We've been down for 2 days, very, very minor, but at least it's down. We have a new moon today, and we're going to see what happens with this, of course, but it's always very exciting. We're starting to see a little bit of a pullback in gold, and I think that's another one that looks, really interesting. But there's one that was on the news this morning on the CNBC. One of the chief executives for IBM came on and started talking about not cryptocurrencies, but blockchain, and didn't mention any of the cryptocurrencies. It was all about blockchain. And she's one of the top 4 executives at IBM and how much, they're really involved with this. But let's just take a quick look here at what we've been watching at here on long term in Bitcoin. Now, we're not trading this. I'm bringing this to your attention, of course, because it's something in the future, much like the internet was, back in 1994. But you'll see we have a very distinct ABCD pattern coming in here, just about the 8,800 level, which would be a 382 retracement from the low we made, or from the high we made back at $2,000 a share, I believe, and it would be 61% retracement from the low. From the low at $5,000 a share. Boy, when you talk about these numbers, you forget that it's going along pretty good. By the way, I want my hats off to the Minnesota Vikings. Somebody upstairs had to be looking at those folks because they got very, very lucky in a great game. What's so sad is that somebody has to lose, and that's the main thing. My son-in-law tells me my 4-year-old and 6-year-old in Philadelphia are so consumed with the Philadelphia Eagles that they scream on every play, and I'm sure they don't know much about what's going on. So, anyway, football season is coming to an end here with the Super Bowl on February 4th, but there was some pretty good games, of course, over the weekend. Now, folks, one other thing that I think is relatively important here, and that is that the euro has had a tremendous move. As you can see overnight, overnight we hit 123. We backed off about 80 pips, from that level. But that has set up a really strong move here that we've been watching for quite some time. If we look here at this weekly, hold on 1 second here. If we look at this weekly chart here, you'll notice that we've broken out above the 382 level. That was at the 121 level. So watch it coming back. We're right around 121.90 right now. So that would be very strong support, I would believe. But the U.S. dollar, very good peak when the Saints come marching in. Yeah, well, the Saints didn't quite do it, but boy, it was sure exciting. Hold on just a second here, and I want to talk a little bit about this dollar index because it's another one that looks, on the weekly basis, you can see what we're looking at now in the dollar index. It's going to be hard for the dollar index to reverse from here, folks, until we get down to about the 88 level, down about another 2 points. That'll be the 61% retracement. That'll be a very, very interesting to watch. But right now, it certainly looks like, we've broken down. We mentioned this several times last week. Once we broke below that 91.20 level in the dollar index, that it had a really strong affinity for lower prices, because that was such strong support with that ABCD pattern that failed after a shallow 5-day rally. And that's neither here nor there. So we'll keep an eye on that as we're looking at some of these things. Okay, now I want to talk to you. Let's go back into history a little bit, folks. The Dow Jones is, I don't know if you folks, I'm sure you do, but the Dow Jones is basically a family. It's the Dow Jones family, and I don't know if it's still a family business or not, or whether they sold out, but it started with Charles Dow in 1896. We've been looking at the Dow. I just want to show you something, because you're looking at something that is highly unusual. Hey, we got a caller, John Jameson from the Jameson Letter. John, are you on?
I am, Larry. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you? Listen, John, this morning I was watching, there was an IBM executive on, and she was not talking about cryptocurrencies. All she talked about was blockchains. And, she made a really interesting case that this stuff is really here to stay. And she said that this is the future of just about all the stuff that's going to be done on the internet, which you've been telling us for months now. So she was a lady. I had a Scandinavian name, but she's been with IBM for 35 years. But she's in charge of blockchain research for IBM, and evidently they're doing a great deal. But boy, she really built a case. I couldn't understand most of what she was saying, but she built a tremendous case for blockchain, as that's what you've been telling us. And I guess the cryptocurrencies are a offset of that.
Well, that's right. When we did that seminar or webinar, all of a sudden it's a couple of months ago, and a big part of that was, it's not about Bitcoin specifically, it's about the technology behind it. As you rightly say, there's big money, big investments, and big changes coming. And really, just think of it like this. It's just a re-engineering, a layer on top of the existing internet. Mm-hmm. So for any techies out there, this is just sitting on top of a OSI protocol stack. It's just basically a virtual machine. And there are many different types. And what's happening right now is there is Ethereum is sort of, I guess, people are betting that is going to be the market leader. It has Ethereum tokens. A lot of people are developing tokens for it, and that leads into quite an interesting discussion actually about immediate uses for those Ethereum ERC20 tokens and exchanges, because obviously we are seeing a correction in Bitcoin. I'm not sure whether you've talked about Bitcoin already, but we've seen a massive volume spike on a 4-hour chart, a big reversal bar. About 400 over 400% of average volume. It's the biggest volume spike on a low since the September low. However, as I speak, that's now being eaten away. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, blockchain is definitely here to stay for sure.
We have that big ABCD pattern that we talked about a week or so ago. John, can you stay with us till after the break? We want to talk a little bit more about Bitcoin. Okay, sure. John Jameson from the Jameson Letter. We'll be right back, folks.
The TAS Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the TAS Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profiles So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the TAS Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you haven't tried David White's daily trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, then this month is your perfect opportunity. On January 17th at 5 p.m., Dave will be hosting a special subscriber webinar where he'll be presenting on the newest feature in his newsletter, short-term sector charts that work on both the madness and wisdom of crowds. Join Dave on January 17th as he describes the method he uses to recognize these signals on a sector-by-sector basis, and as he discusses how he used this new tool to buy the gold miners in their seemingly darkest hour in December. And all new subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. If you're a trader scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity, then now is a great time to sign up for the Path of Least Resistance. For all the information and for details on Dave's subscriber event taking place January 17th, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Larry takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Okay, we're back, folks. We're talking with John Jameson and the John Jameson Letter. John, on the blockchain, tell the folks the difference between a cryptocurrency and blockchain. I've had two questions about that just in the last few minutes.
Okay, well, the blockchain is the infrastructure, the technology behind the coin. That's what allows the transactions to take place. Okay, so the blockchain itself, there isn't a blockchain. It's not the blockchain. There are many different types of blockchain. Most people are focused, and the media is focused on Bitcoin right now, obviously because of the big price hikes the so-called bubble prices we've been seeing.
Okay, now the question that I have, another question is, how much does it cost? What would it be if someone like an 18-year-old in a garage somewhere came up with some type of a derivation of this? Would that be possible? That they're multifaceted, blockchains that could change what's going on right now?
Well, yes, in theory. An example of that right now is the problem. You see, a lot of these coins and tokens, there are so many of them. The real key to it is to figure out what usage these things have. And so the exchanges right now have had a big problem over the Christmas holidays. In fact, to a lot of new users, they can't open accounts. They've just simply shut down, and say, sorry, we can't handle the accounts. Now, this is causing problems because a lot of people are frustrated. They wanted to trade various altcoins and they can't. So exchanges are the gatekeepers. So that's a problem. Well, if you have a look at something like AirSwap, for example, AirSwap, for example. AirSwap is a new form of exchange. It's that runs on the Ethereum contract. And if you look at the guys who are running that, this is a young startup company. These guys are in their 20s, they're dynamic, and what they're doing is they're creating a token. They're creating from an existing problem, they're solving that problem. In this case, they're coming up with a decentralized exchange. And that's, in fact, going to be something that I'm going to be talking about a lot over the next few weeks, because that is going to be, I think, a big theme for 2018. So, yes, in theory, because this is open source, if you had the money and you can solve a problem, sure, yeah.
John, the question we have from one of our listeners is: is all this technology, is it patentable? Do they have patents on this?
It's open source, so
So everybody has access to it.
everyone has access to it. Correct.
Okay, wow. That's pretty technical, that's for sure. Anyway, listen, John, I want to thank you for joining us today, and we'll have you on again really soon. And we'll keep watching Bitcoin. Looks like we're heading towards a little under 9,000 on the ABCD format. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Great stuff, Larry. Talk soon. Thanks a lot.
Okay, you bet. That was John Jameson of the Jameson Letter over in the UK. Folks, keep an eye on the gold market here. We finally had another. This is our large. Believe it or not, folks. Today is our largest correction in gold since we started the bottom down on December the 12th. That was one day after the big cycle low that Norm Winsky had pointed out. And so it was very interesting that we've gone $108 higher. And this is the largest correction during that 3-week period, $14. So once we get below the 1330 level, that would tell us that we're ready for a little bit larger correction. But gold trades really quite nicely on the intraday charts, and so it makes it one of the better trading vehicles that you can use. And the margin is certainly acceptable, and you're able to really get a pretty good idea of how some of these things actually trade, which was really good. Let's get to the Treasury bonds here. We've been having a little bit of a bounce here since we got down to that 149 level. We're now up almost 2 handles. It's the first ABCD structure, so we should run into some really strong resistance just about this 151.16 level. And I think that will be 151.16. That's about, it's not too far from where we are, about half a point. But that will be an ABCD pattern over a 4-day period. So that would be one that I don't think we're going to get much above that. The Treasury bonds and Treasury notes, long-term, folks, look so weak that it's just hard to believe. Let's take a quick look before we had John on. I wanted to talk about the Dow Jones family, started in 1896 with Charles Dow. Folks, since 1896, there's never been an unfilled gap in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And if you'll notice here, I'm not even going to go back to April because those were filled. Those 2 gaps were filled in April. But since the solar eclipse that we had on the 21st of August, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, which will be our biggest gap. The gap today, because it doesn't trade overnight. We do with the futures, but the Dow Jones does not. And those 30 stocks all open around the same time, and they're all going to be opening higher. So it opens 200 and some higher, leaving a huge gap. And that's going to be our biggest gap where we are coming in right at the new moon. So I don't know when it's going to happen, but history says that these gaps will be filled. Whether it'll be in my lifetime or not, remains to be seen. So that's neither here nor there, but watch it because these gaps are certainly very, very important from a technical standpoint. They don't talk about these because this is just very, very rare, folks, to see any gaps in the Dow Jones, and then to see 11 of them or 12 of them. Sure, maybe things are changing and we're living in Camelot again, but boy, after looking at charts for over 7 decades, boy, it's hard to find something like this. But we'll see what's going to happen. That's the main thing. I just wanted to go back. We can do this. I want to go back to 2009 here because this is where we were. I'll put this up. This is where I told our listeners I'd only been doing the radio show for about 2 years, and on March the 5th. And if you notice, this is the Dow Jones Daily. You don't even see any gaps on this, folks. And this is a Dow Jones Daily chart that over a year and a half in one of the wildest markets, we didn't have any gaps. And now you can see where we are right now. But on that day, we had a 3 drive to a bottom pattern. We had a butterfly pattern, an ABCD. And then, of course, we had the big Bradley turn at that date, which was also coming in. I believe it was a new moon or a full moon within a day or two of that. And that led to the biggest bull market that the stock market has seen. We went from 6,600 in the Dow, 6,400 in the Dow, all the way up to, we're going to hit 26,000. Well, we are at 26,000 already. So that's going to be interesting. Remember, the Dow stocks, folks, are they're not cap weighted, they're price weighted. So the higher the price, the more value they have in the 30 stocks. So stocks like GE, which is going to be kicked out, that's my prediction, and that's the only original Dow stock from 1896 is General Electric. All the others have been removed. So let's keep an eye on that. We're going to have Rich Anderson at the break here to talk to us about some of the grain stuff that we have getting ready to occur. We've got some really interesting patterns coming in on wheat, corn, and beans. And so this is going to be really fun to look at as we go through some of these. But we will have Rich Anderson here at the break in just a few minutes. And one other question about the currencies. If I had to short one right now, I couldn't do anything. They're in no man's land as far as patterns because they've gone above these levels, and so I'm waiting for potential to buy the euro. That's what really I'm looking at.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters. In quiet markets, investors search for new trading opportunities. We'd like to introduce you to a new product that provides opportunities even in flat markets. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a new and innovative Chicago-based exchange registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their trading platform. Nadex never charges a fee to use their platform, which even includes real-time charts and full customization capability. Nadex's unique short-term binary options allow traders and investors to capitalize on strategies even when the underlying markets are quiet. Nadex's innovation has allowed them to come up with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's nadex.com, or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, and we have Rich Anderson of Anderson Capital Management and the Minnesota Vikings on the line now.
Hey.
Holy moly, guacamole. Rich, how are you?
Pretty good. There's kind of some interesting things that I've noticed. Of course, keep in mind I'm a farmer, so I don't know much about anything, but the rig count's gone up a whole bunch in Canada last week. And, North America is the swing producer, and this oil price is up here where they're going to be drilling and producing oil like crazy. The key thing to watch for then, I mean, the rig count was up over 112 between U.S. and Canada last week. Now it's cold and frozen in Canada, so it's easier to move rigs in. That's one of the reasons. But price is primarily the other reason. You can lock in some hedges. In fact, most of the hedges for 18 are already locked in. So watch the differentials. Our buddy Rick, noticed that we're like 141 trading sessions from the June 21st low, and that 140 sessions was what the rally was from August 3rd of 16 to February 23rd of 17. So I thought that was kind of an interesting observation.
We've also had, the heating oil has been lagging the market quite a bit. It didn't make new highs the last few days, when the rest of the market did.
Profitable, they're buying the crude oil and they're selling the products, and the crack spreads are going to start to break, and then the backwardation will be taken out, and then the market will roll over. That's kind of the order of things and how that works.
Rich, someone's asking, is there a lot of excitement in Minneapolis about the Vikings getting into the championship?
Oh, there's a ton of excitement. I mean, people that aren't fans of, baseball or football, if you get into the World Series or the Super Bowl, everybody becomes a fan for that week. The flip side, though, is that if the Minnesota Vikings happen to be in the Super Bowl, if Philadelphia's in it, that's like 40,000 fans are going to come to Minneapolis, and they'll spend on average $625 a day. That's what they figure.
Wow.
But if the Vikings are in it, you won't have all those outside fans coming in, so they actually won't make quite as much money, but it's still be a lot more fun.
Rich, you might not remember this, but 40 years ago, you got tickets for me to see Fran Tarkington play, and it was a new stadium at that time. Do you remember that? Yep. That was the only professional football game I've ever been to, and I remembered that quite a bit because Tarkington was one of my favorite players. One of the things watching the game, Bud Grant was there, the old coach from the old Vikings, and what a great human being he is. He was a war hero, and I believe he was the only person ever to play in he played NBA pro football and pro basketball, didn't he?
NFL championship team, and it did it in the same year.
Wow. So he played a pro football championship and then pro basketball championship.
With the Lakers, basketball, and the Eagles and the football.
Wow. Hey, the question that someone's asking, what's your feeling on the grain markets here, Rich? Are we getting ready to turn a corner? We're really near cost of production on corn and wheat, and what is your feeling here?
Well, on the corn, we're below the cost of production. I showed you the basis a couple of weeks ago, what I get paid in South Dakota. The key thing right now in the grains is the weather in South America. The crop report on Friday showed we just got a lot of everything, but the cheaper dollar is going to make us more competitive in the world market, although Egypt's tendering for some wheat today, and there's so much aggressive selling from Russia and Ukraine that I don't, even Romania and France, for that matter, that I don't know that we're going to get any, if any, of that business. And the acreage they thought would be down for the hard red winter, and it was actually about 500,000 acres more than they expected. So we're going to need some weather things, but the weather's been kind of squirrely from here and there, and so that can easily become the case.
Oh, that's for sure. This is I have a question from someone about what is it, Rich, when the people in Minneapolis are clapping their hands above their heads? What does that mean? I had two people ask me about that this morning. During the game, they would clap their hands above their head. Do you know what that means?
No. Tom, when they clap their hands above their heads, what does that mean at the Vikings game? That's a skull. Oh, their game song is the skull deal, and apparently that's a skull.
Ah, okay. I don't even know what a skull is, but that sounds okay.
Chewing tobacco, I think. I don't know. I don't, but
okay.
There's this song, and that's where that comes from.
Okay, now the next question that we have is about the cattle market. We're getting down here to a huge ABCD pattern in the cattle. And what's your feeling here? Do we have a chance for a rally coming in here with all this cold weather? They don't gain as much weight, do they?
No. energy never disappears. It's just converted, and it's either converted into meat or into heat. And when it's really cold, it's converted into heat. But we're going to be 38 degrees on Friday, Larry. And
38 degrees? Is that above zero?
The snow we got on the game day is going to be gone. But if you bed your cattle down, and the feed yards that bed their cattle down, and the yards aren't messy, the cattle, don't do as good as they do in perfect weather, but they still do pretty darn good. And so it hasn't been the negative effect it would have been if we'd had wet, sloppy yards. And that's just the truth of it. I think the nearbys of your targets, projections will probably be where it's at, but most of the brokerage firms don't let you trade the nearby, so you'll have to be trading in April, and I'll be trading the nearby myself.
That's a totally different chart. It actually looks much more bullish. Yeah, Rich, why? I know. Give the folks a little history lesson here. Why the brokerage firms, don't allow people to trade into delivery and stuff. You want to tell them why that occurs?
Well, in the old days, if you take delivery, it was the delivery risk, and you take delivery, and you got live cattle the next day in one of these multiple delivery points. Today, it's a receipt, and you don't get the live cattle actually for 3 days. And then if you want to retender, you just retender and take a hit on your account. It's in dollar, it's not a big deal, but it's big enough, and so that it's just. That's for the professional traders, and they, if I were a firm, I wouldn't allow it either. But
you want to protect yourself. That's for sure.
Money.
Yeah. Remember the old days when they used to deliver eggs to people?
Oh, I know. And if the air conditioner went out, you got rotten eggs, and they aren't worth anything. And
yeah, that's for sure.
That was a really big problem. But like hogs are an index contract, just like the S&P or currency, so you don't have to worry about deliveries. And there's a lot of the differentials. I'm always talking about differentials. Like right now in the crude oil, I'm watching them very closely. I think there's going to be huge opportunities here. That's what you have to watch for. And the other market that's caught my eye is the stock market. This FOMO, fear of missing out. We're way above the 200-day moving average. The yield curve's as flat as it was in 2007. And that kind of was the end of things. And one other, there's huge spec longs in the crude oil right now. There's huge spec longs in the euro. There's several markets that are setting up that are going to be kind of interesting. I do not think people are taking into account how much money is going to be sucked out of the system.
Hey, Rich, thanks for joining us, buddy. We'll have you on again soon.
All right, take care.
I'll be praying for the Vikings. 877-927.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN has put together the finest programming lineup each trading day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected financial minds in the nation to educate traders and investors. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we broadcast 8 hours a day, starting at 9 a.m. as Larry Pesavento kicks us off with Trade What You See. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we broadcast 11 hours. Get an early and healthy start to your day as Nico and Paige bring you Living a Primal Lifestyle. Then catch Andy Hecht at 5 p.m. with the Commodities Hour, following the Tom O'Brien Show. Swim lessons from TD Ameritrade Think or Swim is now at 11 a.m., followed by Basil Chapman at 12 noon. See the TFNN program lineup via the link on the front page of TFNN.com to get a complete overview of our TFNN shows and hosts. And keep TFNN's Tiger TV tuned in on your mobile device, PC, or Mac for the latest financial news and information throughout the broadcasting day. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
The Bull Bear Binary Option Hour, brought to you by Nadex. Next on TFNN.
Okay, folks, this is the this was in honor of our good friend Rich Anderson. That was a Minnesota Vikings school fight song. So we'll be listening to that, and we'll see what's that. But no matter what happens, it's still it's nice when we see some excitement and get away from the usual hustle bustle of all the stuff that's going on in the world. But anyway, that's it's really amazing. What really scary this week was the fact that we had a situation in Hawaii, where there was a false alarm. In fact, we have some friends over there. One of our good students is over there. Happened to call me and tell me that they were under attack. He didn't realize that it was a false signal. I mean, he asked me what he should do, and I says, just sit there and wait. I said, there's not much you can do if it's a nuclear attack. There's really not much you can do. I remember when I was a kid, back in Terre Haute, Indiana, we used to have drills where we would go underneath the desks for protection. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's ridiculous. There's not much you can do. We'll be able to see. Then we'll see what's happening. But anyway, we'll see what's going on. We'll just see. Yes, correct. The Russell is right up there. It did hit the level. But that don't mean like Steve Rhodes just posted in here that these markets that go parabolic, they disregard everything, folks. That's I think we're far above 26,000 in the Dow now, aren't we? I can't see the actual Dow price, but I'm pretty sure we are. We're up 200 and some points. We have to be. Yeah, we have to be. No question about it, with a huge gap. So we'll see. But this is a new moon, whether it means anything. Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. 26,032. So we'll see. I've got my 41,000 hats are coming up. 51,000 hats are coming up. And we'll see what's happened. But the party's still continuing, and we'll see what happens from these levels, and we'll just move on. Folks, regarding the question about the crude oil that Rich Anderson was talking about, we hit almost $65 a barrel on crude oil. That was a very interesting number to look like. Once we went above $60 in the crude oil, that was telling you that it wanted to go higher. Now, how much higher it's going to go from this level, is anybody's guess. But I know you're still showing the cattle chart because I'm not quick enough to put these charts up. I'm a little bit mentally challenged here, so give me 1 second here, and I will get the crude oil chart up just as soon as possible. It will only be 1 second. Here we are, and we'll get this up here. You'll see that we're right at a big 1.618 expansion here on the crude oil going back to last February. There's a couple of ABCD patterns up in here, so just keep an eye on it here. Now, I wouldn't necessarily sell it right here, but the thing to do is go down to about a 15-minute chart and then start looking for a nice ABC, counter trend pattern that'll give you a pretty good chance to enter without risking, very much, because, crude oil jumps around $1,000 a barrel. It's just really amazing how quickly it goes. So keep in mind that these markets are very, very active, especially, we're starting to see really good volatility in the currencies now. We've had some really good runs here in the euro and the yen and some of the others, but these are huge moves that are getting ready to occur. One in particular we hit last night. Let me just show you. This is the weekly chart of the British pound. And as you can see here, we've completed a 61% retracement now in the British pound at this 138 level. So that's another really, really good, really good thing to keep an eye on. So watch it. That's all I can say is it's very interesting. If I had to short a currency, this was from the previous segment with before Rich Anderson, I would pick the British pound because it's still in a downtrend. It's making a 61% retracement with several ABCD patterns. So that's the one that I would be looking at if I had to, to put on a short. So that's the one that I would be watching anyway. The Japanese yen is also another one, but it's got a little bit farther to go to the downside. If we can get the yen down to the 109 level and change, it's got a very interesting pattern to look at. Let's just pull this up here. It's actually right around 110. Hold on, let's get it up here. You'll see that we have several ABCD patterns coming together at the 110.25 level. We're trading at around 110.80 right now. So that's another one that looks, very, very interesting. Yes, people are calling for $80 oil, but those people were calling for $30 oil when it was $40. So remember, you trade what you see and not what you think. And boy, but that's not an easy thing to do, folks, because of all the news that's out there and all the things that can occur, to change your mind. But if you can just focus on the charts and not think about what the fundamentals are, you'll be far better off. That's my opinion, of course, because the charts exhibit the total number of buyers and sellers. If there are more buyers, prices are going to go up. If there's more sellers, prices are going to go down. That's whether it's Bitcoin or anything else. That's the main thing. Regarding Bitcoin, folks, we did have a 30% increase in open interest this past week at the CME. We went from 1,000 contract open interest to just under 1,400. So that's a good sign to see that this is coming in. And we'll be watching some of these other, cryptocurrencies with our good friend John Jameson also, because this is something new. John says it's the internet on steroids, and we all saw what happened with the internet from 1994. So that's something that we want to really keep an eye on. Now, I want to share a chart here from our good friend Jim Flanagan. This is basically, I shared it before, but I've had a request to show it again. This is the chart on the Moody's Treasury Index. This is a Treasury Bonds. And you'll see from 1941 all the way down to the bottom, actually, in the bonds, came in September of 1981. The stock market bottomed in August of 1982. And then from there, we went above those old highs from 1945 when the bonds got to the 168 level. And of course, they had that one focus there where they changed the specification on the bonds where they went to 177, but that was an anomaly. But interest rates are going higher. It's just a question of the next leg down. We hit 149 on the bonds the first time. We're now trading in near 151. That's a 2-point rally. I doubt if we'll get 3 points, but there's a possibility of it. And I would be keeping an eye on that very, very closely. That's the main thing. I had something that we got a break coming up here. I wanted to read something to you that someone sent me from the den, which is really one of the fun things about being with TFNN, that you get to listen to some of these really smart folks that we have here. So when we come back for the break, I want to read you something that is very, very interesting about things that are going on with stocks and the economy and stuff like that. That's the main thing, to see what's going on. We're still surging today in the stock market. We got up to 2808 in the S&P, so that's going to be another interesting one, to keep a quick eye on. So we'll watch it, very, very closely and see what's going on as we look at these things pretty good And the Russell got up to 158.86. We'll be right back after these few words from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, we just crossed 26,000 in the Dow. Everybody put your $26,000 hat on, or 26,000 Dow hat on. Just keep an eye on these gaps, folks. I'm a technician. I don't think this is just something, that happens. We happen to see it in gold and silver back in the 80s, and we saw it again in 2011, and we saw it in the dot-com bubble that always ends badly, but it hasn't ended yet. We do have this full moon in Capricorn today, but the buying is very, very strong. By the way, the open interest in some of these things, like the Dow Jones Industrials, the YM, the E-mini, has been dropping the last couple of days. We had big drops in the Russell also over the last couple of days. The S&P is still holding up. It's still increasing open interest. The NASDAQ is not. So only one of the indices, which is the S&P 500, which is the big one, has been increasing in open interest. The second largest is the Russell. It's been dropping. And then the third is the NASDAQ. It's been dropping. And then, of course, the last one is the Dow Jones Industrial, and it has been dropping also. So it's going to be interesting. The only one that's been going up is the S&P 500 futures. The others have been dropping. So Maybe that's related to these ETFs. That I'm not even sure of, but we'll watch this, very, very closely to see what's going on. Yes, silver is a crazy one. So, but keep an eye on the gold and silver, folks. We want to be looking to buy some of these on a nice pullback. It was very good to us through when we looked at it on December the 12th, and then we'll see what the next leg is going to be. But we had $107 in the first leg. We'd like to see a 38% retracement here. Would take it down to about 1308, and that would be an interesting thing to do. So we'll keep an eye on it very, very closely. But this is our 12th gap in the Dow Jones Industrial Average since these August solar eclipse. So that's it. Live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.